Ancient Greece? Check. The Norse realms? Check. Chinese mythology? Well, hold your horses everyone, because I think going down this trail, although entertaining, isn't the one that will lead us to that coveted next entry in the God of War franchise. As gamers, we like to make predictions. Yes, just like movie critics and fans like to predict where the plot will take their favorite characters in that next long-awaited blockbuster they're dying to see. I've done it extensively with this very game in God of War Ragnarok, as my coverage and prediction of the game's plot had some, well, misfires to say the least. Now that the game is out and people are talking about the game, we've got to that time where we have the game's director making the rounds to various video game outlets doing their very own spoiler casts on the matter. Of course, everything is up for discussion, as it should be, but during one of the spoiler casts on IGN, God of War Ragnarok director Eric Williams seemed like he went out of his way to plant some seeds into our minds as to where we may see Kratos next. Take a look for yourself here in this clip from IGN, as he, along with the panel, discusses God of War Ragnarok's endgame and how there are some peculiar clues that may point to the direction of the franchise.
We leave it open for maybe there are other things with other mythologies and whatnot, so we'll see where the future of Santa Monica goes.
Now,
I mean, if you pay attention to Tyr, I mean, there's a reason why he does the 6 animations that he does at the end of the game.
I'm sorry, say that again?
So Tyr, once you free real Tyr,
Yes, yeah.
he is in all the realms, but he does very specific animations.
Yes.
So
So
may have seen that he's been traveling the world.
yeah. So we noticed that as well. I mean, it was, can I ask about that? Like,
Sure.
just the fact that
I'm gonna get in trouble here in a minute, Joel.
So, Eric just talks about the endgame, and ever so casually just continues down this line of thought that we all ought to pay close attention to the poses that the real Tyr does, as that may shed light into where the future may be going. And, well, these are my thoughts on this. I think we're getting it wrong here, my friends. We are looking too much into what game director Eric Williams had to say during this rather potentially revealing spoiler cast, interpreting poses that may hold the secrets to where the franchise may go next, that could likely lead us on a path that ultimately leads to a dead end. Do all these poses relate to Chinese or Japanese mythology? All of them? Now, I may be incredibly wrong, and what he is saying here may indeed be the truth and may provide insight as to where we may see Kratos taken next. That being said, I wouldn't jump in on this all too fast, as his extemporaneous remarks seem to be that of trying to throw players off by trying to get their expectations up, but ultimately have those same expectations shot down when we do eventually find out the direction of the next God of War game. We see this occasionally with video games, where developers hint at one thing, but actually end up pulling a fast one on us by delivering a radically different product from what we were being teased with in the first place. Now, I think it's entertaining to hear what others are throwing out there about Kratos' next mythology to tackle, but clinging too tightly to the words of a playful game director during a spoiler discussion might be playing into this scheme he may be trying to throw us all in. So, in case you want to know where we'll see the franchise going forward, well, I actually did an entire video on that, linked here in this card. I advise that you watch it and let me know what you think about my theories as to what the next God of War title is going to look like. Although that video doesn't theorize as to where Kratos will go next, it is clear that Atreus is a very likely candidate to receive either a major release or a small spin-off title or DLC allocated to his personal quest revealed at the end of God of War Ragnarok. Go ahead and check that video out for more insights on my thoughts regarding that, but as to where Kratos is likely to go remains to be seen. What we do have is a community that has taken their sights off ancient Egypt as a possible mythology the team may explore, and instead have plotted their course far east into the lands of ancient China or Japan. These lands are rich with mythology, just as we have known to know many of the Western mythologies through media, with countless films and video games covering them. Eastern mythology has many similarities to Western mythologies, and also carries with them some very key distinctions that set them apart, and although I would love to see the God of War franchise travel to the Eastern lands, I don't exactly think that Eric Williams is the one to be trusted for Kratos' next adventure. I'm sure many at Santa Monica Studio have good ideas about where the franchise will go from here, and heck, they may actually be working on that game as we speak, for that matter. But reading into these Tai Chi and meditation poses only serves the team to keep us guessing by having us content creators spew out very guided theories, only to shut us in our tracks when an official trailer comes out revealing that Kratos awakens in some pyramid in ancient Egypt. Now, I'm not saying that Kratos is going to be in ancient Egypt next, although it is quite likely he will make his way there at some point, as he was originally planned to make his PS4 debut there before the team switched directions and decided to base it in Norse mythology. But that's beside the point. The point here is that I literally have no idea where the next God of War game with Kratos is going to take us. For all we know, we'll see Kratos in ancient China, perched atop a serene temple, seeking the guidance of a dragon as Kratos tries to rid his mind of pervasive thoughts creeping into his head about his past failures. Perhaps we will see Kratos in ancient Japanese mythology, interacting with all manner of foul beast and yokai in the land of the rising sun. Zen in the practice of meditation, a scene that we also see the mighty Tyr practicing, could be where the series goes next, as Kratos still seems to have these recurring thoughts and feelings of being a monster due to his past. These eastern lands are ripe with figures in these mythologies, whose ideologies are associated with peace and prosperity, and rightfully serve and benefit Kratos greatly. There are so many incredible mythologies to tap into here in the East, and it would be a pleasure to see these mythologies explored more, especially by a team like Santa Monica Studio, as they have done incredible jobs at breathing new life into these tales and putting their own mark on these fabled stories and legends. With so many players half expecting the next God of War game to be taking place in ancient Egypt, and now with a slew of theorists thinking that the game may indeed take place somewhere in the East, I wouldn't be surprised if the team at Santa Monica Studio have something entirely different for us in store. Will we return to ancient Greece? What about the nearby Roman mythology? Perhaps we'll see Kratos venture off on his boat, only to see him somehow venture into Polynesia amidst the gods of the islands in the Great Pacific. Basically, the crux of this video is, we have God of War Ragnarok's game director suspiciously and very much intentionally bringing up that the hints as to where the series will go next rests in the poses of Tyr. Now, how vague is that? Players are focusing on two animations in particular, Tyr doing Tai Chi, which is very much Chinese, and also Tyr doing meditation, which also has its roots in China and ancient Japan. What about the other poses he makes? Here in Alfheim, he's just standing there, pondering. Does this kind of expression belong to any one mythology? What about this? What Eric Williams is doing is literally giving us little to nothing to go on, but just enough to ruffle our feathers to take the fans on another years-long game of pondering until ultimately we know what we are going to get with the next God of War game. And that is when it's announced. That's it. Very smart man he is, for getting the base energized as we wait for the next game. The real question is, what will the next game be? Will it only star Atreus? Can God of War exist without Kratos? Well, I think not, and although I do feel like we will get that Atreus game in the way of a spin-off title, as to where Kratos will go next is a story for another day. A story I will cover in the next video. So, what do you think about Eric's remarks about Tyr's poses? Do you think there is much to go on here? Voice your thoughts in the comments, good people, and make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed the content, and subscribe if you loved it. View this video here if you want more insight into what a God of War spin-off game starring Atreus would look like by clicking on this video here on your screen. Thanks again for all the awesome support, good people, and I'll see you again real soon in the next video. Peace!